Previously on Everybody Needs a Muse. Anthony had confessed his love for the woman Tracy to Delilah, the housemaid. He had done so while under the influence of bourbon, something he was previously unaccustomed to. Also, he thought that the ghost of Jack, the deceased owner of the inn, had visited him on the smoking porch while he had been in an inebriated state. Jack had given him love advice. Anthony had become sick with the drinking, and Delilah had left food for him at his room door. The next week found Sugar Papa quieter than usual. He washed his dishes, he mopped the kitchen floor, he helped the waitstaff and the handyman, and Sally as usual. He felt old, embarrassed, defeated. He did not play his harmonica in the evenings, nor did he go down to the waterfront that Saturday. He did not care if another street performer took his spot in front of the t-shirt shop. Sugar Papa was embarrassed. He had gotten drunk on the smoking porch, and surely all the wait and kitchen staff were making fun of him. He had told Delilah that he loved a woman down at the waterfront, a woman he barely knew. Had said the woman was going to live in his room. Crazy. And the woman is married. But worst of all, he was haunted by her, by the woman. He had thought he had seen her in the bar. He had thought he had seen her in the dining room, eating with the other patrons. He had thought he had seen her walking past the inn with the tour groups or in the horse-driven carriages. Maybe she would contact him. She knew where he worked. Yes, she would contact him, and then she'd tell him that she wanted to meet him somewhere, that she wanted him to come back to play in front of the shop. She would tell him that she left her husband and that they would be together after a respectable amount of time had passed. He would wait. He could wait. Sugar Papa had gotten down on his knees beside his Victorian bed and prayed, "Dear Lord, I will wait for this woman if you will only promise me, give me some sign that she loved me or that we be together." Madness had turned to sickness and back to madness again. He had looked for signs everywhere. When he saw a woman who looked like Tracy, he would feel a flooding of relief and comfort. He just knew God was answering his prayer. Didn't the Bible say to have faith that whatever you ask in his name would be answered? Or something like that. Grandmama Queenie would know what to tell him. She would know what to do. He missed Grandmama Queenie. Things slowly returned to normal with Sugar Papa. His hair began to turn a little gray again, and he found comfort in his daily routine and in being helpful around the inn. He pushed away his crazy thoughts about the woman. It felt better being normal without the fever of some crazy crush. He was still so embarrassed by it. He had told Delilah all about it. Surely now all the staff knew. One evening on the smoking porch, the staff were having drinks after their shifts. They sat and swiped their phones while they chatted and joked after a long day's work. Sugar Papa had just come out of the inn, having finished his work himself, and the twins, the cook, and Delilah all invited Sugar Papa to sit with them a while. Surprised by the invitation, Sugar Papa politely joined them in the rockers. "Ain't heard you playing none lately, Sugar Papa," Justin said. "Why don't you play us a tune?" Sugar Papa wanted to make his co-workers happy, and was happy himself to be relieved somewhat of his embarrassment, so deeply did it run. He pulled out his harmonica out of his pocket and began to play. While he was playing, an elderly man in a light blue Polyester Suit stood at a distance, holding a bourbon on the rocks in his hand. He was smiling. He was nearly the image of Jack, Sally Jack's Inn former owner, who had passed away. Wonderful Jack, who had loved Anthony like a son, and Anthony had loved him like a father. It was said that Sally Jack's was haunted, if only gently haunted. Had Jack joined the gentle ghosts that inhabited the inn? The man in the polyester suit came closer. When Anthony finished playing, everybody clapped and made a fuss. "Good job, nice job, well done," said the man in the polyester light blue suit, smiling. Hi everybody, this is Jeannie from Trippin' Tarpley's Productions. If you're enjoying this program, please hit a like and please comment. I'd love to hear from you. This is the last episode of 6. And go back, if you would, and visit the other episodes. I think you'll enjoy those. They're all a story within a book. So please visit my channel. I have travel, history, mystery, and my own original writings. If you'd like another story, check out The Two Sisters. I think you'll enjoy it. It's about two creepy sisters, two little old creepy sisters that live in a big old creepy house. So without further ado, let's get back to the program. And please subscribe. My channel's growing. Thank you all for that. To those who already have subscribed, but I know lots of you out there haven't yet. So hit that subscription button, and I love you. Thanks. Truly, Sugar Papa's voice and skill were thrilling to hear. He stayed with the little party for a few minutes more, then rose, stating he had to get home and feed Ketchup, the little cat. As he was leaving to go out into the dark, he felt something in his hand. It was Delilah putting an envelope in his hand. "Read it later," she said, quietly. Sugar Papa, ever discreet, tucked the envelope into his pocket and, saying nothing, crossed the cobblestones to his building. He got the envelope. It looked like a greeting card. He opened the envelope and pulled out a card that had a distressed-looking, beautiful white woman on it, wearing a gown that made her look like a princess. She had long golden hair. A king was kneeling at her feet, looking very concerned for the woman by his expression. He opened the card, and the inscription inside said, "He whom I love, I wish to be free, even from me." Beneath it, Delilah had written, "Sugar Papa, I am sorry that you are hurting for the lady you told me about. Life is funny because many times I have wanted to tell you that I've had feelings for you, but I was too scared. Since you have shared such a personal thing with me, I want you to know that I will hold it sacred. I just thought that you should know that you are loved, but I will no longer hold out hope because you love someone else. Just know that you have a friend in me, your friend, Delilah." Astonished, Sugar Papa put down the card. It was such a nice thing. He was not accustomed to any special attention other than his audiences at the riverfront. He slowly began to realize that he meant nothing to the woman at the waterfront. How could he? Nothing. And maybe what the man who looked like the ghost of Jack had said that day was true, that the beauty of a love is in the one who loves, and the beauty of the song is in the one who hears the song and loves it. This thought gave him some peace. After all, he had enjoyed the entire relationship with the woman at the waterfront, Tracy, in his mind. Even if she hadn't loved him back, he had had the experience. Had the feelings been real? Had they? He went to sleep that night with a clearer heart, knowing that he was loved. The next day, the words from Delilah's card were on his mind as he washed dishes at the sink with the little air conditioner spitting cold droplets of water at the back of his neck. He whom I love, I wish to be free, even from me. She whom I love, I wish to be free, even from me. If he had ever had any real love for the woman Tracy, then he must set her free. In his mind, let her go. It was a liberating idea. And so Anthony wrote out a letter to Tracy, but he did not give it to her. Instead, he folded it up and took it down to the river one sparkling Saturday Savannah morning. He placed it on the surface of the water and watched as it dipped and drifted like a little boat that was finally swallowed up by the darkness of the river. Then he returned to his spot in front of the t-shirt shop, but turned his direction the other way so that he was not facing it. There he played and played for hours again, never daring to allow himself to look toward the t-shirt shop. He felt like a weight had lifted off of him. He was free. It felt so good. There were two more things he had to do, though. He had to talk to Miss Delilah, and he had to visit the now empty home he had grown up in. It had been so long since he had visited. He had been too distracted by a silly notion of the woman Tracy down at the t-shirt shop, down at the waterfront. The skeleton key turned in the ancient wooden door of the old Victorian mansion on a Friday night in Savannah. The energy had been waiting, never changing, eternally deep. "Have you come home, Anthony?" The little voice of Isadora rose up. "Have you come home?" "I've come home, Isadora, Grandmama Queenie, and I brought a friend," Anthony called out to the dark, vast, empty house. The house woke up, listened. The energies started to stir. The spirits came to the stairs and to Anthony as the moonlight shone on the floors in that old house in Savannah. There stood Anthony Sugar Papa Cleveland Washington at the base of the great staircase in the old empty house he had grown up in. And just then, Delilah's beautiful hand slipped into his. The end.